It is said that when the middle class cry out, few people hear it. But when the poor cry out, everybody hears it. A lot of people seem to forget in this political season even that middle class incomes dropped 12% over the Republican 8 years with the 2 wars. Not choosing sides because obviously we have, but the entrepreneur has been having nightmares for quite some time now. I know the Christian community and a lot of positive thinkers say, keep it positive, but you got to admit something and you've got to acknowledge something in order to get help for it. If you always deny what really has been happening, it's going to be very difficult for us to come together and resolve it and have an overcoming and victorious outcome. Things are boiling, coming to a head. Let's talk about it. Coach's Corner. Welcome aboard. And so you are having nightmares, or your friend or your girlfriend or your wife or your husband. Well, what do I mean by nightmares? Well, when it rains, it pours. I mean, for some of you, you've mastered getting your bills paid. That's really not the question. There may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but these is not the days where you were just, irresponsible and you paid what you felt like. But you're being responsible. You're being on the up and up. You shoot the arrow straight. You aim for your short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. You have an outlined mission, vision board, all of these things. But you never talk about the nightmares. And the nightmares persist. They persist, introducing and reintroducing fear. They persist and introduce and reintroduce discouragement. They persist and introduce or reintroduce frustration. They persist and introduce and reintroduce exhaustion because you're grinding. Well, this is when you pull out your tablet and you re-strategize and tactically change up what you're doing, but you start off with what I'm calling the grateful project, where you say, okay, it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. In other words, if you take a look at the other side, from the other side, it always you always come out with more information. But let's don't deny that there are nightmares going on here. Let's not deny that, because you know what my statement is. Being positive is just not enough. It's not enough to just say, well, I'm just going to be positive. Let's acknowledge that we're going through some nightmares. We're going through some shortages. We're going through a lack of profitability here. We're going through a lack of unity here. We're going through, I don't know if I have enough strength to stand any more crap here. That's our problem. We don't have a space anywhere in our churches and communities to really air what we think or what we struggle with or the nightmares that keep coming, which is so plastic and so unreal. Nobody can talk real anymore. Everybody wants to, I'm going to keep it positive. That's because you don't have any conflict resolution. Folks having nightmares. And the ultimate nightmare is always this. Will my dream ever come true? Or did it come true and I didn't know it? I was watching a story yesterday about a guy who blew $100 million. $100 million. So if it was to be objective, we could say one decision brought him from riches to rags. Well, let's turn that around. Though we're struggling, we're having nightmares, we're having a lot of seepage here in this economy, and not just with this economy. Well, with the culture is not the same. If you're not in the clique, then you just don't get the profit, it seems. Folk like to run with folk of that kind. Folk don't, I don't know, it's just a freaky feeling out here in the business world on level 2, which we're not, you and I, maybe we should be talking about level 5. How to move from level 2 to level 5 before you end up smacking somebody upside the head, before you end up throwing in the towel and picking up a towel that somebody never thought you'd pick up. I mean, let's just talk for real. Somebody call me the coach. I'm not the coach just to be making light of the situation. Let's talk real deal. The nightmares, they got to stop. But you got to participate in the recovery, in the solution. If you don't participate in the solution, in the recovery, we're going to have the haves and the have-nots for a long time, and we're going to have the dreamers versus the visionaires, and the accomplishments of the visionaires versus the emptiness of the dreamers. You got to participate in this. You know, the random acts of kindness should not be left to a news channel. I mean, have you checked that out lately? We are so cruel, so ornery, so cold, so plastic in our society that random acts of kindness programs have been left to news channels. That gives you a sense of how entrepreneurs are having nightmares. We got to pull together here. We got to pull people aside and we got to talk to them. We got to pray for them. We got to ask them, is there anything that I can do? We got to do that more often so we can overcome some of these entrepreneur nightmares. Follow me on Spreaker, Twitter, Facebook. Keep it real and keep it locked. This is the Coach Scorn. I'll see you next time.